Good evening, welcome to the meeting of the Outdoor Events Committee, Tuesday the 15th of February. Quite a lot to get through this evening, so we'll crack on. Any apologies for that? No, because they've no apologies. Okay, declarations of interest? No. No. Okay, minutes of the last meeting. Is everyone happy that it's a true reflection of the last meeting? Because I have a committee proposed by Councillor Taylor and seconded by Councillor Dale. And could we all vote in favour, please? Or vote? No. Okay, matters arising from this meeting. 40.21, book sale needs advertising. We've started the campaign on that. Funds from the last book sale to be an agenda item. We will be discussing that shortly. Market stalls are also to be discussed shortly. The emblem competition has a closing date of the 28th of February. We are about to start publicising it more because we haven't had much of a response yet, although it is half term and we're wondering whether we'll get some entries in at the end of half term. Regarding the community newsletter, I think we have that as an agenda item for an update this evening. And moving on from that, I think everything else is an agenda item. So I think that covers, that covers all the matters arising. Public participation. Has anybody got anything they want to raise that's been raised by the public? I think I haven't got anyone here. Okay, so we'll move on to Jubilee celebrations. Now, we had a really well-attended meeting last week with members of the community regarding the Jubilee celebrations. I'll raise this point at the start of discussions. We have to be mindful of budget for this. So everything we discuss, we need to be thinking about a budget, and I would propose that we together come up with a proposal of a budget to put to full council, because it's all very well coming up with these ideas, but they've got to be paid for somewhere. So if I run through just a brief summary of what was discussed last Thursday, I think it was Thursday. So we have a 4-day bank holiday, or 4-day holiday, the Thursday and Friday being bank holidays. So starting with the Thursday, this is the day of trimming of the colour and the lighting of beacons. Now we have, so far, we've got a town crier booked, we have a piper booked, we are looking for a bugler, and we've got the beacon. So what we're looking at doing on that is agreeing amongst this committee further ideas for that evening. Now, suggestions last week ranged from having the choir from the church come along. The Attleborough players have offered to do things there. We could possibly provide some food at cost price, i.e. hot dogs and perhaps hot chocolate. And I'll open it up. Has anybody got any thoughts on Thursday? The beacon lighting, which incidentally happens at 9:45.
That's on the Thursday.
It's on the Thursday evening. Okay. So no, yeah, we're
yeah, I was just going to say I think that for the beacon lighting ceremony, where that's already been agreed, the choir is part of that. So I think if Matthew's happy for the choir to be involved, I think obviously that in principle has already been agreed by us accepting to obviously be involved in the ceremony, because that's obviously part of the ceremony itself. The refreshments, I do think it's a good idea, because I think to have some form of refreshments, and if it was at cost, or very reasonably priced, I think it entices families to come along, and it makes it feel more of an event rather than something just purely ceremonial.
Any other thoughts? Now, Councillor Rose.
It was suggested that we had lights around the square. If I remember right. It can be done, but they won't be red, white, and blue. They'll have red, green, and something in. Because obviously, had a Christmas lights around the square. That can be done, but depending whereabouts the beacon is going to be.
So the lights are.
Can I just bring up the lights? We're going to be putting up hanging baskets. Is that going to put the one with the lights and stuff? Should know. No, that's fine.
I'll hang behind them.
Another.
Sorry. The only thing that's just reminded me of is obviously at the meeting on the Thursday when we discussed the lights, one of the ladies present said that she didn't feel that there'd actually be a great benefit to obviously the time and effort it takes to put them up and the cost to run them, because it's going to be light, so you wouldn't get the full benefit of having them there. So I actually think maybe bumping around the square between the baskets.
I think one of the ideas you came up with was to put them on through the night, wasn't it?
Well, up until about 1 in the morning.
Could you find out how much it would cost to do that, if there is a cost implication? Because obviously we'd have
Well,
to.
if I can get the lights off of, which I can do, just for the square and the staff. All he'd have to do is connect them.
But we'd have to pay for the electric.
Yeah, obviously.
Could you investigate?
I'll
that?
investigate.
Any other? One other thing on
But
this.
before we go any further, it depends where the beacon is going to be. Because if that's near the fence,
Mhm.
we don't want it to melt the lights.
No.
Yeah.
Well, so the two things we need to action on this
I mean, it
is,
was again the fence last time, isn't it?
yeah, is the location of the beacon, and before we decide against the lights, just roughly what it would cost.
Yeah.
Cost of lights. Another item on this beacon lighting is that nationally the guiding movement or the scouting movement are going to be light beacons. So Michelle is going to approach the local scouts and see if they want to be part of the lighting. If they don't, then we need to think again about who's actually going to light the beacon. But in the short, for now, we're just going to approach and see if they want to, because that's the national thing. So that's sort of a rough guide on the Thursday. On the Friday is the third service of Thanksgiving at St Paul's. And one of the proposals that was discussed last week was doing a children's disco in here, Jubilee Disco, from reception up to year 9. The idea was to do 4 till 7, 7 till 11, and the 11 till 16 age group, finishing at 9:30. Anybody got anything they'd like to discuss about this idea? No? Okay. Well, we can get a price on what that would cost us to do that, to add to the list. There's also Ignite have offered, or they'd like to take part in the celebrations for the youth. So there was a discussion about them possibly doing something around a bonfire with songs and things for that older generation. So my understanding is Michelle's going to organise a meeting with them, and we'll see if we can do something, with them for that night. Then the Saturday. Sorry.
Yeah, going back to because they said they have like fire pits.
Yeah.
That obviously they sit around, and they said that that's really well received from the teenagers that they engage with. The only thing, because obviously myself and Debbie met informally with Michelle yesterday. No, it wasn't yesterday, was it? Day before. And I did say, if she is going to approach them and say, like, is that something that you're going to proceed with? I did say it would be nice for us to offer one of our open spaces more centrally, because otherwise they're all the way, they're out of the town.
Yes.
And I think it would be nice if it is going to be included in the town's Jubilee celebrations, for it to be more central, if that, you know, if they would like it to be, because again, you know, the emphasis is on them. But I think it'd be nice for us to at least offer some open space, possibly because of the age of the people that they're approaching. I thought maybe the Dell, because it's enclosed. So I thought that might be quite a nice idea, if obviously the committee are minded to, you know, make that proposal recommendation to say.
I think that's a good idea. That it's actually enclosed, as you say, it's central, so it encompasses all areas of the town, you know, into the centre.
I mean, they
very
might,
good idea. They might not want
they
it,
might
but
not want
they
it,
should
but
have
at least we can
it'd be nice
offer.
to have the offer. I think it's a good idea, yes.
So,
And they are used to running these events, they run them a lot. you know,
Yes.
and, you know, although as a committee, we want to see events happening, I think it's great if the community take on the
Totally
lead on
agree.
events that,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah.
Can I just say something briefly about we need to show the improvements to the Dell, because I know a few people refuse to use it because of the state walls, but when I've told them one's actually been done, and they're very impressed. They've been nice.
if I did speak to Michelle about this, following our meeting yesterday evening, and I just said, oh, I went down there for the first time Sunday, because I didn't realise that it had reopened. So I went down there on Sunday on the off chance, knowing some work had taken place and it was open, and I was really impressed. I was really impressed. And I said to Michelle, like, we should be promoting like that it's reopened with some pictures of before and after. And she said she'd gone down there and took some pictures, but where it's obviously a bit, although it's dry, but where the grass has obviously been churned up by the work, she said before it's, well, we can promote this over before any pictures of like really showing what we've done were uploaded. She was going to give it a few weeks for the grass to grow back so it looked a little bit more aesthetically.
Sorry. We've got the environment meeting next
Monday.
week. It can be actually pushed then, can't it?
Well, the agenda was published today, and I did put it under Matt's advising.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
we can, we can have an update.
If we go down the Dell, we get there is houses, 3 sides of it, 2 sides of it.
Yeah.
And they back right onto it. So if there's going to be a certain amount of noise, they might not, because they are old people that live there. But back on.
I think the event that they normally run, they run at the community church down Hartland Road, and that is surrounded by residential areas. So,
You know, they use it on that round it, and so it's on the road. And then there's no, you have to cross Poplar Road or whatever they call it. And that's where your first bungalow.
Yeah.
You know, just
Just have to be
a
mindful.
thing that you need to me, you need to tell the residents, you know, whatever sort of space we can.
Equally, and I don't want to sound completely unsympathetic, it's a recreation area and they've got a house next to it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I agree,
Kids
but
go
that's, you
sit
know,
down
the
there anyway, so just because it's being
controversy of that,
encouraged
then
this
that's
once.
One night.
Yeah, and I think kids could go sit down there and congregate and socialise with or without a part of it, so.
I think the difference with this is it's an organised event rather than
Yeah.
informally. Something's actually happening, it's been arranged, it's been organised, you're inviting people to attend it that wouldn't do otherwise. So I think when this programme comes out, I think carefully need to look at how we're going to promote it, communicate it, but such as the Dell, if they decide to do that, you do need to consult the residents. If there's a strong kickback, we just need to consider it carefully, that's all. Because you are arranging, it's like arranging a rave. It's a public open space, but normally wouldn't happen. For instance, I know that's an extreme. You just need to think through those processes. And I think it's a good idea, I really do.
Well, shall we just put forward a motion that we'll offer the use, but bearing in mind all these considerations.
Surely if we let the houses back on there, know in advance, they can go out, they can come around here for the evening, you know, and see what's going on. I think one night, it's not going to be till midnight. You know, I just think one night, surely people will be a little bit.
Well, we don't know the outcome, it's just doing the right thing and informally, you know, we're advertising this event on the down,
Yeah,
letting you know and just see what the feedback is.
If they
Just
have a
manage
letter
it.
through the door to tell them what's happening
I'm
beforehand.
not knocking it there. I'm just
No, I
thinking
know
that,
what you're
you
doing.
know,
You're umpteen the problems before they. Yeah,
you
I
see
know
it
what
round
you're
around,
doing.
you see it where the skate
I know
park
what
was.
you're doing. Yeah,
You know,
I just.
let's not give them an opportunity to start moving when they've been told about it in advance. You know.
Anyone else? Okay, shall we then I'll put forward a motion that we will offer the use of Dell to the community church for an event on Friday of the Jubilee. And anyone
I'll
who's
second it.
second that, and could we vote please on that? All those in favour?
Sorry, yeah.
Thank you, that's unanimous. So that's the Friday. Then we come to the Saturday, which nationally is the Derby at Epsom and the party at the Palace in the evening, which is one of these, you know, where they drag everyone out and perform and all that sort of stuff. So the discussion was about having a parade from the Queen Square, which had been brought up the very first Jubilee meeting we had. So this is something that we know that there is a lot of interest in doing this. So this was fine-tuned down. I will point out that there is still going to be a carnival in Attleborough in July. So that's a separate thing. So during discussions, there were various ideas came forward for this parade. Obviously, fancy dress for the children. We could have decorated wheelbarrows, we could have decorated dogs, leading from the Queen Square to the recreation ground. And then you have the issue of what do we do when we get to the recreation ground? And leaning towards more of the village fete type idea, rather than a big carnival with policemen on motorcycles and all that type of thing, which costs a lot of money. Trying to keep it more as a community event. Inviting the community to take part, the dance groups to do demonstrations, to etc. etc. And therefore that would keep the costs down. Various local people who were there have offered to do barbecues for us, etc. That's the thought. I'm just opening it up now to the committee to see if anybody's got any more thoughts on the actual afternoon of Saturday, 4th of June. Any thoughts?
Yeah, so going just through some of the points that were raised. So first, I think the parade, I think we should formally accept that idea that, you know, it's a very valid suggestion. And the Beavers, the Brownies, one of our sports groups have already all said they would like to be involved. So I think it's them advertising that, you know, a parade would be taking place and making an invite to anyone that's obviously willing to participate. Would be my suggestion.
The other thing is that there was talk as well of having something in the evening. Now we've investigated this, and there's obviously, as I said, there's this part of the past, so there was a possibility of a big screen. And Michelle's come back with some costings. If we were to have a big screen to broadcast the part of the palace, be around if we were to try and get, there's another option that we could run this event for the afternoon, and then people could go home at 4 o'clock and either watch the thing on their own TVs. But we have to bear in mind that the Sunday is the street party day. So people will be getting ready for the street party in their areas on the Sunday. So that's another thing that we need to decide as a committee is, are we going to do an afternoon event? Do we want to run it through to the evening? Bearing in mind cost implications. Anything on your thoughts?
I would say make it a humdinger of an afternoon event, personally. You know, make it really And then also you're not treading on anyone else's toes.
Anything else? Councillor?
There was mention of the mic night.
Yeah, no, the mic night, that's another thing that we need to discuss. But as sitting in the town hall at the moment, on the Friday night, we said about doing the disco, which would finish at 9:30. So we could do an open mic after that, or we could do an open mic on that afternoon at the recreation ground. You know, that's another option. We could do some sort of open mic on the night of the lighting of the beacon. You know, so there's other options. I don't know what other people think about doing an open mic.
I've got a bit of a concern about the rec and how popular it might be. Because I think the worst thing we want to do is organise something and it's either poorly attended, and the rec is a big space. It's a huge space, and even if you have 100 people on there, it looks as though nothing's happening. I'm not saying not do it, but I'm just thinking through, okay, if it goes really well, it goes really well. If it goes really badly, what's the implications of that? And doing a parade from here to the rec, are there going to be enough groups? So I just think it's pursue it, absolutely, but just keep saying, hold on. If it goes not as well attended as it could be, do we really want to do this? Because there's nothing worse, is there? So, you know, it goes in the press and it's what have you. But rather than focusing something in the town centre itself on the Saturday, because we've got this open space here. You know, it's a concentration, and kids can come and go, and it is probably going to be more the younger kids with the parents than something in the evening for the older people can generate. So I'm just chucking that in the mix of re-look at the options, and I know the rec's their music, but this is different. That's what it's going
Okay.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, this is something that when we met with Michelle, she did raise. So she had the same idea that you've had. And she said that the way around that is that, you know, we could potentially fence some of it off. So use like Harris fencing or something that we've got in stock, or order something in to make it so it's not the whole entire field. So it's a section of the field where you come into, which might be a good idea anyway, because there could be work happening at the skate park that overlaps, although you'd assume that weekend people would take that off because, you know, bank holiday. But there's already maybe would be some kind of restriction on access to that area. So having a designated area that's maybe formed off of this, that you could dress with some bunting or something like that, so that it still looks nice. And she also said about maybe getting in some hay barrels, or do you know what I mean, something like that, to provide like a bit of a arena, and that some of the games could take place in. So if we decided to go ahead, I know we've got this table in front of us tonight. Obviously on here there's like sack racing and stuff like that. And you could have, and the egg and spoon, you could have a bit of an arena set up, and it would fill some of that space. But maybe scale down the recreation ground so that it's not in the town centre necessarily, so you're limited to space, but we can then determine how much space we need. So there's not a limit, but do you know what I mean? But we could refine it, which I thought was a very good suggestion.
I think that's key, because it is a huge expanse.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's worth looking. I'm not advertising in shape way more the beer festival, what they put on, how they deal with it, it's based on something to know it's the same. Forget the beer stuff, but everything else they do works really well. I think if that's what we're trying to achieve, even though we'd like everyone to come out and put work into like different things on the day, what have you, it's to make something manageable for the transit.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult. Without doing it once, you never know.
I think you're right, because those of us who've been around the town for many years remember the heyday of the carnival, and you'd have the whole of the rec would be covered in, there'd be franchises of cars, you know, it would be absolute. And then slowly it starts to die off, and there's nothing worse than turning up somewhere and there being nothing going on, and because it's all spread out. Whereas if we went down the route of a smaller space and a more traditional route, in my past life, I've helped organise things in Kenninghall where we do a very similar thing with bales of straw, form an arena, have a round of traditional games going on, which won't cost us much to do. And also we have to be mindful of parents what don't want to put their hand in their pocket all the time at these events. Yes, we could invite other traders in to, to do stuff, but if we could get the community doing this, and even if it's just the parents and the people who are in the parade who come along to the rec, you're still going to get probably 500 people there, so which will be great. If we've got other events going on, I mean, you can see this thing, this that Michelle shared with us today about the rental costs of these, like having the stocks there, having the coconut shine, much more traditional games, which, I personally think it's doable, but it's up to everyone else and go along that vein rather than going. I mean, I don't know if anyone saw it today, but Cromer today announced their campaign for the 4 days, and they've got a Spitfire flying over, and they've got a vintage car rally and all this, which is all very well. It's a holiday resort, but all these things cost money. And at the end of the day, I think we, as a town council, we're more interested in the community than, and we do have a carnival that happens in July.
Here's a thought, in terms of the parade, you want mass, don't you? Is it worth contacting back to the heritage basketball country? My thought was it worth getting in touch with the organisers of the tractor rally at the Angel, see if it could do something similar of get artisan farmers that want to come round and get the tractors down, because the kids love tractors. 10 tractors takes up quite a bit of space. We've done parades recently, and it's a little bit. Whereas if you got something big,
you could expand that to vintage cars and classic cars, couldn't you?
This is it.
Yeah.
So
worth making an approach anyway.
It's just worth asking the question. It's no, fine, but at least that's.
Who's first? Yes.
When Councillor Tyree said this is a mad thought, I thought he was going to suggest a turkey march.
Well,
it's what I thought was going to
No, I'm waiting for one of you two.
Yeah, that'll be next Christmas anyway.
You need to maybe contact Route 11.
Yes, because they do something on Sunday morning, don't they? Yeah.
They have, well, I've been there one more than they've had from those how many classic cars, American cars, admittedly, but my favourite, the horse, one with horse on. Oh,
Mustang.
that's it.
Got it.
They had right through from 67, right through. Awesome. Things like that. Yes,
Oh,
and classic bikes they did.
Yeah. So if we bear this in mind, and bear in mind this leaflet you've got here with costings on, because at the end of this we do need to come up with some discussion about budgets. So that's sort of the idea for the Saturday. Then also on the Saturday, the Heritage Group are going to be running one of their things in here that they do periodically, where in the afternoon, where they'll be doing a show and a talk of the buffet, and they could possibly be doing a tea dance in the evening here as well. Then the Sunday is the big eat, they call it, don't they? But it's the street parties on the Sunday. Now the church are going to be doing a church service, and they are going to be doing a picnic in the grounds of the church, which for the children, we've had somebody come forward to offer to do free picnic boxes for children, which is fantastic. So we could incorporate that into their event and support them doing their event there. On top of that, Bretland have now issued a guide to running your own street party, which we want to share with the community. So if anybody does want to run their own street party, we can do that. And then that's also the day where nationally there is the Jubilee pageant. I don't know whether they're going up the Thames or whether they're doing something. So they're the sort of the rough ideas that have come forward so far for the 4 days. Any of you got any more thoughts they want to add on this?
Yeah, so one of the ladies that attended the first informal meeting we've done to discuss the Jubilee has commented on the emblem competition post that I shared on Facebook, just to say that they're organising a street party for Sunday on the field between Springfields and Platform Road. So I'm assuming that's on the Bretland land, on Platform Road, big piece. But they have said that they don't think that the afternoon tea dance will be going ahead because the Kaleidoscope group have now folded. I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
I think the Heritage Group are thinking of it too.
Yeah.
I didn't know about it.
And I know Kaleidoscope have reduced their time in here, but I don't think it folded entirely. So I'm not sure about that, but there is one street party that we know of already in the pipeline, which is exciting.
And I think if we encourage, the people, we publicise how to go about it. So that's
Sorry, I don't know if it's discussed at the meeting or wasn't at, but you can do something in front of it.
What do we do?
In front of the town hall,
Front
on the road, like a street party here,
Well,
in square.
we had wondered about extending the offering to people to have a picnic. The people from Pride had said they would be interested in doing something out there, but the church doesn't want our event to distract from what they're doing.
Which it needn't do, because at the church, shouldn't have, I don't. It's Matthew doing it straight after the service, which normally happens.
Yes.
But if you have something mid-afternoon here, because not everyone goes to church, and not a lot of people rock up there. I imagine it'll be the same people with a few add-ons in terms of, the whole community in the town. This is the focal point, isn't it? And even if it's a bit like Christmas, where you can get stalls in, and there's a bar, or there's hot dogs, or there's food and cakes, and bring your own chairs or what have you. But that space is all open. You're creating space for some people that might not have space and would like to do something. And it's not in competition with the church at all. It's add-on or afterwards, or we just look at times.
Well, I'll approach Pride because they had mentioned it.
Right, okay.
And then if they're not, well, then we can look at
Doing it ourselves.
On that very subject about the area around the square, we're going to put in for a 4-day closure for the whole of the square, all around. And also, Michelle is working on doing a rolling road closure for the parade, so the whole of this will be cordoned off. So bearing all this in mind, there's a couple of other practical points I wanted to raise with you. Bunting, obviously putting bunting up everywhere would be fabulous. And the idea was put forward to have a sew-in in here to appeal on social media and community for donations of red, white and blue fabric and any old clothes that are red, white, blue and purple. And we would have a sew-in in here to make bunting rather than have to purchase it. We do have a certain amount of bunting, but that's multicoloured, but we thought it might be nice if it's not going to cost us anything. And I believe that we're going to discuss it with local sewing groups as well. So that's one thing. The other thing to discuss is, as a town council, do we present the children of the town with a gift, be it a commemorative mug or such like? Again, there's cost implications to this. There was talk at the meeting last week that some people said, even if we donate a mug or give a mug to the local children, which has been tradition in the past in Africa. Some people would like to buy one anyway, so we could also sell them to adults, etc. But as I said, there's a cost implication. Anything from £3 upwards, it would cost us to buy them. So again, there's other items we could look into if we decide we want to present the children of the town with something to commemorate. You can buy pens, commemorative pens we could have made, etc. But I'll open the floor and see what you think on this. Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking, for the bunting, we would need a considerable amount. So, this is just my brain like ticking at the same time. So I'm thinking a sewing is a really good idea, and taking donations of fabric is a very good idea. But what is the duration of the sewing? Is it going to be a full day? Is it going to be a weekend? Is it going to be one day in March, one day in April, one day in May? Because I just think, obviously, I'm no tailor, well actually I am, but I don't know how to sew to save my life. I'm assuming it's quite time consuming. So what are we thinking? Is it going to be a weekend event that you can drop in over the weekend and participate and stay a few hours and then go, or are we going to do it so it's, there's a couple jotted throughout, 2 or 3 months?
I'll go along.
Yeah, on Bunsen, I think the sewing day here is a good idea, but some people might want to do it at home, and that should be encouraged as well, because they can do it in their own time and they can do perhaps more than coming here by the time you've set up here and everything.
I think it's a great idea, it's community involvement, but at the same time, let's not try to complicate things and make things too busy, because there's going to be a lot going on, and there's going to be a lot of asks on people's time. We all know that's precious. But my suggestion is, where do we want bunting going? Go out, get the costs for it. It's a one-off event, and it'll come back to full council in terms of budget. So yes, I can totally understand, we need to watch the pens. However, we want to make a good impression on the town. We want it to look good, which costs money, and encourage that sewing, but think, okay, well, where does that bunting go? So if you're trying to say bunt the whole town through sewing, it's not going to happen. So buy it in, and then think, well, where can it go so people can go and have a look at it? So it might be above the town hall, or in the square, or what have you. And it's back to, we like to think people would be involved, and normally they are, but if they don't, you've then got a problem. And if all the buntings being sold out in the country, it's too late. So what I'd suggest is start thinking of your plan. Where's the bunting going? Is it similar to lights? So it goes all down across the shops, around the square and everywhere else. Fine, cost that up, get it in, and then think, let's do a community thing that kids can be involved in as well. And where does that go so it kind of stands out? Have you seen what I mean? Because I think we can get a bit too enthusiastic and think, yeah, great, and let's get the community involved, and that will happen. And as well, sometimes it doesn't quite work like that sometimes, and you're left running around trying to come up with something. I don't think we want to do that. We want to make the town look absolutely fabulous, and if that means spending a bit more money, so be it, but let full council. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to say, an alternative would be to obviously encourage people to make their own at home, and obviously then bring it in or drop it off or have it collected, and also the sewing, which I do think is really nice. I do think that's a nice idea. But we could use that bunting, and obviously, like Councillor Tyler says, rather than think we're going to do the whole entire town in bunting that's made by local residents, we could just say, well, Queen Square we could do, because that's a focal point of the town, obviously, and some of the celebrations are going to take place on the square. The churchyard, potentially, if Matthew's happy for that, we could decorate along the railings of the church wall or something, because obviously we know that is going to be a focal point for a celebration. And then, like we said, if we did put up some Harris fencing or something at the recreation ground to limit the space that's used for the event that we've got planned for the rec, we could either decorate the fencing and also maybe just the entrance, like literally just the gate as you walk in or something like that, so that it's got like a nice welcoming feel. And the high street itself, to be honest, I think you could encourage the business owners to if they're going to do probably window displays or other bits and pieces, to put up their own bunting, because I know, having, you know, family with 2 businesses in the town centre, I know that they would. So I think if we said, you know, we really want to make an impact, and we approached businesses and said, you know, are you planning on doing window display? Are you planning on opening? What are you planning on doing? And we actually engaged them. I think they'd be happy to put their own bunting.
Or possibly, or you might just have gaps. One option is to say, we'd like to put bunting across your premises, will you contribute to the cost? That takes a whole range of assessment. It's like, yeah, we'll give you X amount of pounds, brilliant. They don't have to do it. They don't have to then put it up. They then don't have to take it down. It's far easier for a business to say, I'll give you some financial money, but you're asking me to actually do something when I'm already busy. It's not going to happen, which is why I'm saying, look at where we want it to go, what we'd like it to look like, get a cost, and then, as you quite rightly say, Councillor, go out to businesses, really, and say, we'd like to make financial contributions to this, because they'll see it as good PR, footfall. It's like the Christmas lights.
Well,
so it's the same principle, it's the same model. But let's make life easy. That's all I'm trying to suggest. We can come up with great ideas. That's another idea. That's another idea. All of a sudden, it just doesn't happen. I think let's keep it simple. Let's make a really good job of what we can do.
Okay, on the bunting, my understanding is that the planting for Queen Square is going to be purple. Is this right? Purple being the colour, purple and silver are the colours for this celebration. Secondly, I hate to say it, we're probably going to be having a coronation in a few years' time. So to have red, white and blue bunting would probably be quite sensible. We have got coloured bunting. I think we've got enough to go around the square. Again, going back in the days of the heyday of the carnival, the whole town was coloured bunting, wasn't it? All down Connaught Road, you know.
It was across the road.
It was across the road. It was,
you can.
Yeah, it was spectacular. So that would have to be the ultimate goal. But from the point of view. So my suggestion would be that we look at purchasing an amount of the proper bunting, the purple bunting around the square, because if the planting isn't going to be purple and with red, white and blue, that would make quite a spectacular display around the square. Then the sewing idea, I've had a few people already have said they would like to do that, along with the suggestion that we produce a template so people can make their own. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I agree with what Pete says. Some people like to do it at home, but the cutting out is the thing that takes the time. So if we had a sewing here to cut them out, and bundles given out to people that didn't want to come in, it is the cutting out. If they're all cut out ready, it doesn't take a lot of doing.
And personally, I'd be quite happy, because I like sewing, I'd quite happily host a weekend, or as Taylor said, a couple of consecutive or an evening where people can drop in, and if we ask for donations of fabric and old dresses and stuff. So we've got 3 areas here where we can produce bunting. One is we can make it ourselves, another is we have got some in stock, and another area is that we could go out and purchase some specific bunting. We could ask for donations from local traders, but then this comes to the big thing of the whole overall budget for this event. Do we add that into the budget as an investment for future use? That's a possibility. I don't know what everyone else thinks, but this is sort of long term, that it could be used again. So that's another thought. So
let's get the prices. To make a really, really good job, not let's skimp. We want to promote the town. There's a lot going on here. Businesses will see it as promotion of the town, and that's what we want to do. and then we'll have a debate on that, I suggest.
So I'll get prices for the specific purple for the round and
And
also
red, white and blue bunting to go down,
and
like the
yeah.
Christmas lights, I'd suggest.
Yeah.
So keep the same route.
Keep the same route, yeah. Be nice to continue it up to the snooker centre.
Or wherever,
Yeah.
you know,
The more the
sorry,
merrier.
I'm just.
Sorry, Karen.
Yeah, no, that's fine. What I was just going to add to that is, in addition to the purchase funding, if we are going to do the sew-ins, I was just looking at the events calendar that we tabled previously, and in April we've obviously got 2 weeks of the Easter holidays, so I thought it might be nice because you do get, do you know what I mean, teenagers or younger people that are creative that might like to be involved in that. So the Easter holidays might be a good idea, which runs from the 4th to the 18th. So sometime in that time period. And also the next month in May, from the 10th, is Mental Health Week. And I actually think to have a social event that brings people together during that week would be really nice.
To incorporate the sewing as well, you're saying, right?
Yeah, because I think that would be,
Yeah,
quite
that's a
fitting.
possibility, isn't it, to go on with those. What dates are the meeting in March? Because we Councillor Tyree said we have to be mindful of ordering things and things being out of stock.
Well, ordinarily, this committee meets the second Monday usually, doesn't it? I know it doesn't necessarily have to be a Monday and it's not today, but the second Monday is the 14th, which is Commonwealth Day, or we've got Tuesday the 15th.
Okay, so that's early in the month, so that's still going to give us time, isn't it? So if I get these prices and come back to the committee for the next, we can look at that. Now,
And the other thing we need to consider, sorry, is I can't remember what the link is, but the town clerk has got a budget that she can spend without approval of the council.
yeah, and we have got a budget on this committee as well.
So let's
If
let's not go. I'm trying to think what the word is. Can't think of the word, but let's just move ahead. Let's not get overly concerned about the process and whatever, because you've got to move quick on this.
I have a feeling that the pricing equates to the budget we see that spend. So the amount that we want.
Well, it depends.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
And also, if you get a contribution back from businesses, now that's a risk, but let's just see what's out there, what's available, will it be there in time, how much it costs, what's it look like,
So
to
on the-
make decisions.
on this issue of budgeting, we also need to make a decision about the mugs. Are we going to give a gift to every child?
You're talking a lot.
Yeah, you're talking anything, well, as I said, probably up to £5,000.
So, when you,
I don't know how many
I
children.
mean, the other thing is, ideally, you distribute it through the schools, wouldn't you? Because we can't distribute it to every child in the town because we don't know where they are. So what you do to 3 schools is say, we'd like to give these, how many students have got? Can you go, please distribute these to the kids on behalf of the town council. They can get the numbers from the schools.
Or we get people to register.
People won't do that. People will not register for a free book for the kids because half of them won't know. Because won't have read it, where does this information come from? And just can't be bothered. It's back to make life easy. Approach the school saying, we'd like to donate these kids, be it a badge or a mug, whatever it is. Can you please distribute these to the kids on the day before? It cuts so much management, coordination, responsibility, risk out of us trying to do it. And please register your child and get it. Some people may not be able to register straight away, they're disadvantaged. Schools are the best for because they cover all. That's my suggestion.
Just to point out to you that there is obviously the issue of children who live in the town that don't attend 3 schools as well. So we would have to have some system for those because there's a lot of children living in the town that either go to Oldbuck or private education.
Well, you can't. This is it. What I'm suggesting is you will not be able to cover every child in the town. It's almost impossible. You've just got to do the right things for the schools in the town, those that come here, and do it that way, and nurseries as well. Yeah.
So it works the other way as well, because I have children that come in from the villages into Edinburgh. So if I was asked my numbers, I would include those children. They're not Edinburgh children, they come in from all over. So I don't know. No. You see, so it's.
Yeah, what I was actually going to say is, I think obviously when we're talking about children, obviously that goes all the way through to the academy, that goes all the way through the sixth form up until like 18. So I think we need to be more specific on what the age range is that we would look at be given this provision to, which I would say primary and younger. I wouldn't include the academy because I think, do you know what I mean?
More not. I mean, it's an interesting question. We're saying students, what students are from 0 to 18.
Yeah, well.
And what's perfect, if it's a town council saying, we are giving you the students of the town that are students this year,
well, I don't think it should be students. I don't think it should be limited to students. I think it should be children of a certain age range.
Can we look into what happened at the last Jubilee? Does anybody know?
Kirsty Stamps organised some of it, and she asked me how many children I had and brought them out around, and the ones I wanted extra, I paid £5 for.
Right.
That's what happened last time.
And the Golden Jubilee before that, the Carnival Committee had 900 limited edition Jubilee lights made, and they gave them to, I think that was preschool aged children. I don't even know if that included primary, I think that was preschool, and then they could buy them if you wanted them for your older children. You could buy them for £5.
There was £5 as well.
Well, I think the first thing we need to do is find out how many children there are and the cost of these, if we're going to do grants. And then take it from there, whether we can, what we can afford to do. But are we in agreement that we need to do something for children?
Well, by the sound of it, we're not. We're saying some children, but not some others.
Okay, I'll put forward a motion that this committee is in agreement that we will present all children and students in the town with something to commemorate the happened to the Jubilee. That's my motion. Seconded by Councillor Tyrant.
Before you go on to that, are you looking at something for the younger ones and something different for the older ones?
My motion is we will present them with something.
Something.
Yeah. But that would have to be agreed on cost.
I mean, one thing you could do is, it's only 3 schools and nurseries like yourself, is just contact them and say, this is what we're intending to do. What do you think would be the most appropriate?
Yeah.
Let's not us try and second guess what they want. We're trying to get the community to take an involvement in the role and say, okay, schools, what do you want to do? How can we help and support you? We'd like to do this. I mean, they may go off and say, well, if you give us a budget, we'll go off and do our own thing. That's perfectly legitimate, I would say. I think it's that contact. So the principle is it 3 schools plus nurseries that we know about? Yes, it's going to be flawed because some kids go to other schools that can't cover all bases. Contact them, see what they think. And then secondly, what do you think would be good for your age? Is it a package at 10? Or is it a commemorative class for 6th form, for instance?
How many children have you had?
I think it's 11. Should know.
Do you know how many?
Then how many are Rose Club? That's 6. I don't know.
You're looking at
700. You said they did 900, did you?
Because they only done little children, they didn't do
Yeah.
So you're talking 1,500 to 2,000 students.
Yeah. Which is
Leaving aside nurseries.
What was the price?
I think
So I agree with
£3.
if you're literally increasing everyone, I think it's going to be a
cost
small. It's going to be a small fortune.
effective.
But then Councillor
And
Tyrant,
something that Yeah.
Councillor Tara's idea that, maybe you do different things for different.
We did a £3 one, but it's then going through the detail.
Or you could do a 49p pen.
We could do a whole range of things,
Yeah.
can't we? But I think it comes back to, are we cost driven or are we trying to create something that's memorable for students that the town council like to endorse? And very important questions. If we're going to be budget constrained, then say that's the budget, what can we do? Or if it's more, we'd like to do something that's worthwhile and valuable, that is worthy of the occasion, and they'll probably keep. I mean, the pen won't keep them up. I mean, I've still got ones from Southern Jubilee. You do your parents keep them for you in a safe place. And I think that's the discussion, but it's back to contact schools. What do you think? What do you think they want? That'll inform the discussion and everything else.
I'm mindful of what do we want to do though as a town council. I'm councillor.
The most recent update figures I can find are 18-19. We've got 1,646.
What
Across the three
across
schools.
the 3 schools? What was that number again?
1646.
1646. So if you were to add on even 100 children who were privately educated, or
Yeah, I was just thinking of all of them.
so you're looking at. So, Joey.
What text do you want to have on the note?
Oh, don't even go there.
Because if you don't, you're going to end up with a load of notes that maybe not go anywhere and can't be used.
Well, the ones that were last presented had the Queen's emblem on the front and at the back it was presented by
the town side.
picture of the town side. So, and I think the one before that said on it, I don't think we saw that one presented by the town council.
That was
Oh, that was the Cringleton one, presented by the.
As long as they don't have the words platinum on it.
Sorry, Councillor Smith.
What about Chapel Green School? Was Chapel Road, wasn't Appleborough relocated out?
But it's on Old Bucklands. But if their children live in the town, then there's no reason why they can't. It's like any school. It's like, if you go to Winton College, but you live in the town, strictly speaking, your school is outside the town, but if you live in the town, then we have to incorporate all children into,
Well, I think we need to go back to the principle of, are we saying every child in the town that lives in the town? Therefore, we're going to have to go through the census somewhere and find out who they are. Or the easiest way is schools in the town. I know it's not, because my daughters go to school in some town. They won't get one, but such is life. It's back to practicalities, make it simple. And what we're saying is, it's the actual schools, we're liaising with schools, not making it personal to the students or the young person, because that's where that's going to go. It's to the schools, the town council are offering to provide a commemorative gift to all the students that go to Attleborough schools. Here it is.
It's my opinion, is if you were going to limit it just to the schools in the town, then we represent the community as a town council, not just specifically.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that if the individual schools wanted to commemorate the Jubilee, they may well be already doing something with their budget. And we're looking at a budget for the whole town, for the whole electorate. Are we, as a town council, wanting to commemorate this for all the residents of the town, irrespective of what school they go to? Or are we going to just say, well, you don't get anything because you don't go to one of the three state schools? I wouldn't feel comfortable.
I totally agree, but I'm just talking practicalities.
Yeah.
Can I interject? So firstly, I agree with what you're saying. And although I may be a little bit biased because my little brother and sister don't attend an Attleborough school, my little brother goes to Old and my sister goes to Wyndham College, yet my mum still pays taxes that come to Attleborough Town Council. I think what we could do is stick with the precedent that we've set with the emblem competition. So, this is something that's already been agreed and is being advertised. That, for instance, the emblem competition says open to all 4 to 18-year-olds living in Attleborough or attending an Attleborough school. So the emblem competition, which is a Jubilee celebration, mixes both of those categories of people, either or children living in Attleborough or attending an Attleborough school. And I think that precedent, if that's the route we're wanting to go down, we should be looking at it from the same angle.
I think that's. Do you want to make that as a proposal?
I would propose that we further investigate providing something commemorative to celebrate the Queen's Jubilee to all children under 18 years old who either live in Attleborough or attend an Attleborough school.
I would second that. We vote on that, please. Investigation.
Yeah.
So look at how we look at
The practical. Obviously registering, there would be the opportunity over that weekend to have one of us outside handing out mugs to
town crier,
town crier. We could publicise it via the community newsletter, which hopefully will be up and running by then. And if we cover all that I'm just thinking aloud, but let's just investigate it and look at the practicalities of it. So now I want to, because I'm mindful of time, I want to move on to budget. Now we've already had some offers of help from local businesses, but looking to possibly sponsor something towards it. So my question to the committee is, do we, looking at things like we know if it goes as far as a mug or a pen, if we're going to rent equipment to do on this event on the Saturday, bunting, if we're going to buy bunting, do we go to full council and ask for a budget for the Platinum Jubilee celebrations?
I think we've got to, haven't we?
Yes,
Yes, right. So now we need to decide how much we're going to ask for.
I don't think we can do that until you've got some indicative costs of what. So the process is, what is it we would like to do?
Yeah.
And do we want to do it cheap, or do we want to go bang out there and promote Attleborough? And because a lot of new people moving in, so it's a good opportunity for promotion of the town and the businesses and everything else. What does that look like? So what are the things we want to do? Be it bunting, bands, blah, blah, blah. So get your programme together, get your activities together, cost those out indicatively, and say they're the indicative costs at this stage. However, it could be revenue generated through businesses contributing to bunting and what have you, which will offset it. And then we can have a debate. I don't think you can sit here. I can't sit here and say, it's a budget of 5,000, it's a budget of 20,000, because we've not decided where we want to pitch it.
I am thinking that the next full council meeting is going to be in just under 3 weeks. So I think that would, if we sat here tonight and said, right, we're going to put forward a proposal that these are the things that we want to do. These are the things, for instance, on Friday night, we would like to offer some refreshments. We would, on the Saturday, we would like to hire some of these things. And we said, these are the things that we definitely want to do that are going to cost a little bit of money, probably not a lot. If on the Thursday, for instance, it was hot dogs, what are you going to spend? Like, do you know what I mean? £100 tops. Like, I just genuinely think, like, these games, obviously the prices are here. You could say, well, you know, roughly this much. And we could just say, can you, Michelle, get some quotes for the bunting, for this, for that, the other, and decide the things that we want to do, and just ask her to crunch the numbers a little bit and present it at full council in 3 weeks' time. So we've already agreed these are the things we want to happen. Michelle, can you investigate the cost? Present it to full council, so we don't have to wait for another events and cons meeting and slow that process down of getting a budget.
Absolutely, and it's an indicative budget.
So
and we've got 2 weeks till papers go out for the next meeting, next full council meeting. Michelle's already done a lot of work on this, so we could give an indicative idea of this is roughly what we'd like to. And as I've just said, we've already had people come forward who said local businesses would be happy to sponsor, but if we've got some ballpark figure to work to, then that makes life easier.
And any revenue that comes into bonus.
It's a bonus. So,
So it's just defining the programme in a bit more detail now. Going, these are the SIRS, these are the nice to haves. Just pull it all together and say the budget is X. And the reason we want to do it this way is the objectives are to promote the town, to make it look great, to encourage people to come out, to encourage people to go to local businesses and hospitality areas and everything else. So there's an actual bit of economic investment in this, not just pure decoration. And I think that's where we need to think, what's the end objectives of this, apart from pure celebration. I don't know if Brecon got money. I think they were talking in 5 market towns. There was, we don't know. Then they probably haven't. But let's try and do it from it's a community thing, it's a business thing, and it's a promotion thing.
I am mindful that although there's been a lot of discussion tonight, other than, I think there's been a couple of resolutions with obviously the commemorative something or other, whatever that will be, and the fact that they're going to offer use of the Dell to the Christ Community Church for their event if they want it. There hasn't been a great deal of resolutions. What I was actually thinking is, obviously, where there's been a lot of discussion, if everyone's in agreement, I was going to suggest that in preparation for that budget setting and full council, we tighten down some of the talking points, if we like, as proposals that are presented to the full council and then the budget agreed. So as chair, you might want to sit down with Michelle outside of this, or even the committee informally, and just, you know, go through some of these things that we've discussed, tighten down to then obviously take to the full council for full council approval with and then obviously a budget that reflects what it is exactly that we want to do. Because I think we've been here, well, not too long, but a little while now, and it has mainly been a discussion. And I think because there's so many ideas and so many good ideas, and obviously the community engagement that we've received as well, I think it would be easy to sit here and talk about this all night. But I think maybe if a few of us just focus it down a little bit and try and get some proposals that are made, and so we don't have to wait on them, take them to full council, not as a recommendation from the committee necessarily, because obviously we're not meeting as a committee, we can't act as one. But if we just say, look, these are some of the things that the committee have discussed, I'd like to make this proposal, and do you know what I mean? And then set a budget.
I'm happy on this. I'm happy to put together a report with Michelle to see before it goes out in papers, and it's just, I think it needs to be an agenda item for full council to discuss because it's such a major event. So like I said, I'll put a report together with Michelle of covering each day the things we've discussed, the costings of them. We can then go to full council and say, these are the ideas we've got, this is what it would cost. Roughly.
Absolutely. Can you put some contingency in there?
Some contingency, yeah, of course. So are we all happy if I go ahead and do
I
that?
think that'd be,
Yeah.
I think that's the most appropriate
Yeah.
way forward at this point.
Well,
Because
it
I think
is-
it
it
is
is
such
the-
a
Yeah,
big
It is the
event.
way forward. It's define your programme now as best you can.
yeah,
Cost it up. This is what it looks like.
And
Are we
get full
happy?
council approval.
And with some bumps in there and flexibility as well. So rather than if something comes over or under, have to go back to the council, it's in agreement with the town clerk, subject to a budget limit of, I'm making things up, 5,000. You've got that flexibility. We don't have time. So,
yeah.
sorry, chap, I'm gonna have to go. I've got
All
a
right,
college
fine.
thing to apologies, but no,
Yeah,
very good,
okay.
thank you. Sounds
Thank you.
great. Sounds great.
Right, so we'll do that. We don't need a resolution on that because I'm not going to do that. If I move on to item 7, outbound matters and community newsletters, we put out an appeal to members of the community if anybody would like to come forward. We have actually had 2 people come forward literally in the last couple of days who have offered to help us with this newsletter. So we're proposing to meet up with them next week to see what they can offer. And then I will feed back to you at the next meeting, if that's okay. Anybody else want to say anything on the community newsletter? Now this one's quite an important one. The funds, we've got the book sale coming up quite soon. Books are flying in at the moment, which is brilliant. We put out an appeal for the funds from the last book sale of any community groups would like to call on some of the funds, and we didn't have any response.
Can I just say, 2 people asked me, they were together, asked me the other day, there was a new book sale, what happened to the money last time? And I said, as far as I know, it's going into the Jubilee. And they said, what a wonderful idea.
Well, that was going to be my proposal, was that could we do
Well,
that?
that's what was,
Yeah,
we
did.
muted
We
it.
muted
But
it,
they,
yeah.
they thought it was an absolutely super idea. It was going straight back into the town.
So what I was going to propose was that we spend that money, put it into the pot for the Jubilee, and we've got another book sale in 3 weeks' time. We could do the same, and then after that we can revert to, you know, offering. If we do one in October, we can ask community groups if they want a donation. But yes, sadly nobody came forward and said, "Can we have some money from it?" So I'm going to propose that the funds from the previous book sale and the funds from the forthcoming book sale are put into the pot for the Jubilee celebration.
I'll second that.
And can we vote on that too? That's unanimous.
Oh,
Well, we've moved on to the Jubilee celebrations now. Well, I'll let you go back.
well, all I was actually going to say is, on the Saturday and potentially on the Sunday as well, I know on the Sunday with the churchyard picnic, Matthew had said maybe about some form of entertainment. And I know that obviously on the Saturday we're the lots of entertainment as well. So whether it's children's entertainers, whether it's face painting, balloon, animal making, whatever it is, like, do you know what I mean, anything like that, music, musicians, whether or not we could maybe put a call out for someone that's prepared to volunteer some of their time.
We were the
Or if any
other
of us know anyone
the
that might be
players.
prepared to.
The players are keen to do.
I know
so.
the players have said they will.
Call out for entertainers. Yeah. Right, moving on to the Pancake Race, which we agreed on at the last meeting, and we agreed that it would take place on the recreation ground. And the suggestion has come forward that we actually have it on the square. So I'm opening it up. Have you got any views on Pancake Race? First of March.
It always used to be through the town.
What do you think? Do you think we should do it around on the square or around?
I think this time a bit more.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can't run down the road like we used to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I, which was one of, it did come up in the discussion at the time,
Yeah.
didn't it?
Yeah,
But I think, do you know what I mean, you could have, just get a couple of like little sandbags or something, like, do you know what I mean, bean bags or something, just mark out, or cones or something, mark out start and finish, and just do it from round,
Outside
round
the
this
corner.
corner to round to that corner,
yeah.
and just do it here.
From the bollards around, so.
Yeah.
Just
Really
a
turning.
change of location.
Okay, so I'm going to put this forward as a motion because we've already agreed before. So the motion is that we move the Pancake Race on the 1st of March to the Queen Square area.
Yeah.
I'm proposing it. Who's going to
I'll
second?
Peter,
Pete's
go on then.
seconded it, and show of hands, please. Right, now the organisation of the Pancake Race, I wonder if anybody would like to volunteer to organise, take over the organisation of that. I'm happy to help organise it, but I can't be here on the 1st. So
I cannot make any promises.
No,
I wonder why.
I can't say I will definitely be here.
Okay,
I'm going to 2 days, 3 days before, 3 days before.
Yeah, okay.
So,
I'll speak to Michelle, I'm sure we can get that on, because we were talking about doing some pancakes or something, aren't we?
Yeah.
the book sale will well and truly be out. So I'm happy to bring Squid along to that, but I can't make any promises for the package.
Okay, so that's, I'll speak to Michelle, that's an action point for me about the organisation of Pancake Race and advertising it. Does anyone know, did we used to give a prize or what do we
For
do?
the pancake racing.
Yeah,
I think we agreed this one, it was discussed last time that we'd look at maybe getting some little medals or something to hand out.
medals.
I think Michelle's already
Thinking
on
about
it. Yeah, I think she's
Okay.
already looking into it.
Right.
So
Anything else on Pancake Race from anyone? No. Item 10, market stalls. Councillor Taylor.
yeah, so obviously the first meeting we had where we discussed the Jubilee, we had half an hour prior to that to discuss market stalls. And although we had walked the high street and spoke to some of the businesses, the turnout wasn't very good. I still think, obviously, previously the council had committed to offering a free market stall for 6 months. The thing that we discussed at that meeting was when that trial period of 6 months would start and finish. I think late spring, early summer would probably be a nice opportunity for the businesses. I also think it would be nice to make an offer for them to have a free stall at our Jubilee celebrations if we're on the recreation ground, so that if they wanted to, they could have a stall there as well. But I think there's going to have to be some more communication, obviously to know, what our numbers are going to be, and obviously to again try and encourage that engagement. The other thing that I was going to say with the market stalls is when I did walk the high street, I did just briefly say to some of the, the businesses that do more food-led or the hairdressers, would you be interested, hypothetically, in selling gift vouchers from a market stall if we could find someone to man that stall? And they all were like, oh, that would be lovely, that'd be a really good idea, because otherwise businesses where they craft something or have something that they sell, they would benefit from that. But someone's not going to sit outside the town hall and have their hair cut on a windy Thursday morning. So I think, do you know what I mean, so that it benefits all of our high street, I think that'd be a nice idea. Again, it's having a volunteer to man it. So I just wanted to put it out there to see how many of us, or even, the full council, it doesn't have to be people on this committee, would be prepared to maybe once every month, every 2 months, give up a Thursday morning to do one of the stalls on the market, selling vouchers for our local businesses that don't have something that they could market on a stall themselves. Because I think you couldn't have all 6 hairdressers have a stall. I think if you had a stall, people will go where they want to go. But I think for wedding anniversaries, for birthdays, I know my friend, her birthday, I went and got her a voucher for Cindy's nails because she goes and gets her nails done there. And they do gift vouchers, and I went in and purchased one. But I think if you were attending the Thursday market, to be able to look through, and there's like hair and beauty, there's like maybe Sundays for tanning, 5 minutes, or there's, I don't know, like a lunch at the stag or a dinner at the Rose Vineyard, I don't know. Like if there was that availability that you could have a flick through and you could just get someone a gift voucher, rather than going to Sainsbury's and buying one for ASOS or
I think that's a brilliant idea, and I'd be happy occasionally to man it, because it's a time span and I know how long I'm out for.
Yeah,
So, you know, I think that's a good idea.
I would be happy to
Shall we,
contribute some time.
Shall we first of all, let's decide on a date for the free market stores to begin.
Mhm.
And then we can actually look at a campaign to try and drum up more trade. And from that date, we can also look at the
Yeah.
voucher thing. So can we propose a date for the free market stores?
And I think that this needs to be sent out in some form of letter or email, probably email, it's probably most appropriate. And again, like just push it on social media and in our newsletter, every way that we can
What
to get
about
out to
the,
the businesses.
what about the just after Easter? What do people think?
And the weather's getting.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I think that gives a good opportunity
Yes.
for people. So, because they won't be stood there and it's raining and no one's there.
so when's the first Thursday after the 18th? 18th of April.
18th of April. First Thursday is the 21st. Thursday, the 21st of April.
So shall we propose to start this on the 21st of April?
Yeah, and that gives us all of next month to
Yeah.
promote it and engage those businesses. And
Free market store.
yeah, I think that'd be lovely.
And, right, so we're going to, two things here. One is that we need to agree that to committee, but secondly, we also need to agree that the current market stall holders aren't in charge.
For that period of
For
6
that
months.
period.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be fair.
So,
That wouldn't be fair.
Because the fish ones are ready.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say they're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
There will be a 6-month trial from Thursday, the 21st, no,
21st
Yeah.
of April.
of free market stalls. I'm just thinking free market stalls.
Do you want to make that proposal then?
I will make that proposal.
Did you get that? So 21st of April, free market stall, 6-month trial, current stall holders included.
Do we want it to be limited to outdoor businesses or local? Should we say local?
Local.
The local businesses.
Yeah.
So not necessarily, because
Every
the fishman is,
Rain or
he comes
shine.
every year.
Yeah.
He has supported that market for God knows how
Oh,
many
yeah,
years.
he's carried
We've done
it, hasn't he?
He has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a proposal. I'll second that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
Peter said.
Just before that, I was just going to say, the more stalls we can encourage into the town, I will encourage a lot more football people in it, and they'll start, and hopefully the market will be able to grow again, because it used to be a brilliant market.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to get
Yeah.
up and running. But
And now we've got this lovely act.
Yeah.
Right, so that's a proposal. I'll second it. Did we vote? We need to vote on it. Vote on it, so that's unanimous. Could I ask, who's going to go and have a, are you going to go and have a chat with the fisherman or are you going to, like, push the crowd around?
Yeah, I can do.
Do you mind going?
I mean,
Michelle can go to.
yeah, I mean,
Show
and,
around.
I think that he literally pulls up out there and there and
Yeah.
yeah, they could just
Show.
have a quick word and just say, from the state, we're not going to charge for 6 months. Try and get a lovely market. And then obviously the second proposal is that we offer the businesses that
Advertising stall.
yeah,
Voucher stall.
a gift voucher stall
Yeah.
for alternative businesses that councillors run us on a voluntary basis, with obviously all of the money, all of the proceeds going to the relevant business.
Yeah.
So
Starting on the 21st of April.
again, starting on the 21st of April. Because I do think, like, we have so many hairdressers in this town.
We do.
We have, I mean, so many businesses that unfortunately wouldn't benefit
restaurants as
from,
well.
and restaurants that wouldn't benefit from that offer, but might benefit from something else.
So that's your proposal.
Yes, please.
I'll second that as well. And could we have a show of hands on the gift voucher stall? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's unanimous. Okay.
Just one thing there. How many stalls are you going to allocate for this selling vouchers for hairdresser?
one.
One stall, yeah, one
Just one
stall.
store,
So,
or come
and
to,
you'd
and
have
there'll
it
be
laid
the
out,
names
so
of
you'd
the
have hair and
hairdressers.
beauty,
Yeah.
restaurants,
that's
food,
fine, because
whatever.
you could have 6 hairdressers on one store.
No,
Yeah,
no,
we're
it would
gonna
be
man-
the, yeah, it'd be you would individually, so like the councillor that's volunteered would man the stall, and they would have a selection of
You know, where
vouchers.
you want, what hairdressers
Yeah.
you want.
So, and, you know, everyone has their own personal preference. So someone that, you know, always goes to headlines would probably pick one for headlines, or if you know your wife goes to
As
Cindy's
long as that
Nails,
is 3 or 4
yeah,
stall,
no, it would just be the one
One
stall.
store.
One stall with a selection of
Everybody's.
vouchers.
we ought to see Mr. Burrows, who used to have the fruit and veg shop. See if he'll come and do a mark.
I think he was approached, no,
Did he?
I think so, but we could try again. But I think previously when this idea came
Well,
up, I think Elizabeth Burrows spoke to him and he wasn't.
I went through Wharton the other Wednesday, and they had quite a thriving fruit and veg stall on their market.
I think Wycombe have got one now as well, haven't they, on
Yeah.
Friday? Yeah, and they've got a bread stall there as well.
And
I
my
asked
friends
them.
all they, and the one in Wharton was pretty big.
Ask them
Every
to
fruit and
do
vegetable.
fruit and veg to come here. But you won't. I did ask you. I won't tell you.
Okay, right, so that's done on market stalls, yeah. Public participation, has anybody got anything they want to raise as we have no market participation here? And I don't actually have any correspondence. Has anybody else got any correspondence? So we're looking at the date and time of the next meeting will be, I believe, the 14th.
Monday the 14th.
Monday the 14th of March,
Which is Commonwealth Day.
which is Commonwealth Day, so the flag will be flying. And thank you. So I'll declare this meeting over.
Do you know what? Now and a half for all that.
That's not
I don't
bad.
think that's bad.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all.
You go.
I am pleased with